Hello, I'm Suzan Brinker. I'm co-founder and CEO of Viv Higher Education. We're a small Boston-based women-owned marketing and strategy agency for colleges and universities. And today I'm going to make a video about how to determine the best in-market spend for graduate degree programs. A lot of colleges and universities have gotten by with just offering graduate degrees, making sure that they have a compelling content messaging on their website, maybe refreshing their SEO every once in a while, maybe having a modest in-market spend. But the amount of competition, especially in fields such as business, has made it more and more necessary for graduate programs to have significant in-market media spend to stay competitive and meet enrollment goals. We work with a lot of such programs, and a lot of times the question that we get is, how much do we need to spend in market, and how do we know that the agency that we're looking at is recommending the right amount? So today I just want to go over how we recommend going about determining the right amount for in-market spend. For that purpose, I'm just going to quickly show my screen, and I'm going to show you an illustration of how we recently did this for a school that shall remain unnamed here in the Boston area. So this school gave us their enrollment goals for their business portfolio. They want to reach about 200 people by fall of 2025. And for the education portfolio, which is their other priority, they want to enroll 175 people for fall of 2025. So what we use is a formula based on the results that we see frequently within market campaigns. Just, I guess, a word of caution here. This formula works when you have really great targeting in place that's rooted in your enrollment data, when you're using tactics across the funnel, tactics that pair brand awareness with lead generation and retargeting, and when you have really user-friendly landing pages as well as compelling messaging. So it certainly only works when you have sort of all your ducks in a row from a targeting and messaging perspective. But when you do, this formula can be really useful in determining how much you should spend. And I'll also show you on a following slide how to make that case with university leadership, such as board members or the president's cabinet, because obviously it is a large amount of money that you'll have to put into market, and not everybody is immediately bought into doing that. So the formula that we use, even when we have very little additional data, is to basically say, we assume 1/3 of your enrollments that you will achieve will actually be impacted by paid media. So we don't actually assume that every single person who enrolls in your classes by fall of 2025 will need to have a paid component to them. We assume it's about 1/3 of them. From there, we assume that 6% of your leads will actually convert to enrollment. So anyone who comes to your landing page or to your program page and chooses to fill out a request for information, who chooses to take an action that allows you to capture them as a lead, will actually ultimately become an enrollment. And to walk that even further back, we assume that 5% of the people who click on your ads and come to your landing pages or program pages will convert to leads. And then if you can figure out what the cost per click is going to be based on what programs you're looking to promote, you have a formula that you can use to calculate the spend. There is another way. If you do have all the data, which very few schools do, in terms of how many percent of your leads convert to app starts, how many percent of that convert to applications, how your acceptance rate is looking, what your yield rate is, you can really do a much more detailed calculation, but this typically lands somewhere close to that. So what we have here is the recommended spend based on the enrollment goals that this school gave us. And you can see on the business side, we took 200 the goal of 200, we divided that by 3, 66. That gives us a overall enrollment goal of 66 that we have to affect. And then we apply the formula, which gives us our lead goal of 1,111, our click goal of 22,220. We're assuming a cost per click of $10 because business keywords are really expensive. And that gives us a total recommended in-market budget of 222,200. As well as on the education side, you can sort of see the same formula at play. And then we're also saying, if you're going to hire an agency to administer the spend for you, it's going to cost about this much, right? So this is a really simple way if you want to look at your program portfolios, your program goals, and you want to calculate how much would it really cost to get to the goals that have been set for us or that we have been part of setting. A couple of additional considerations that we often flag for schools is the formula that I just showed you is not actually encompassing of brand awareness spend. So, if you don't currently have brand awareness spend in market, we would recommend putting about $100,000 in market to support brand awareness spend for your entire graduate portfolio. And that is because in industry data, you can see that when you pair lead generation spend with awareness spend, the performance of both is really lifted. I mean, if you think about it, the more brand awareness, the warmer the people are who are coming into the funnel, the higher their likelihood to yield and to ultimately deposit and enroll. We also really often, if schools don't have this in place already, we'll be talking to them about enrollment coaching and lead nurture and making sure that once you capture a lead, you sort of have all the things in place to nurture them and to continue pushing them through the funnel. And so if you don't have enrollment coaches yet, a good amount to start with would be to hire 2 of them. A great new tactic that we're seeing is, really reframing enrollment coaches as career coaches, really making an offer to your leads to get, some free career coaching, and at the same time, warming them up and sort of helping them understand how your degrees can help facilitate their career goals. And then as well, if you work for a school, you probably have some semblance of nurture streams already live. But even if you do, on top of that, you might want to do some phone outreach. You might want to do SMS. You might even want to consider doing postcards. And a really under-leveraged tactic would be to also survey your leads on a regular basis, figuring out what's holding them back from moving through the funnel, what their needs are, and what the opportunities are for really inspiring and capturing them. And then if you don't have someone yet who's doing work in Slate, if you have Slate or if you have a different CRM, you will want to resource that as well. And then with this particular school, they really felt that in order to be able to service the additional enrollments that they would be bringing in through the spend, they would have to hire additional faculty too. So that's something that isn't necessarily related to agency or in-market spend, but it's a consideration when you're making the case to leadership for an investment in graduate growth. And so to that end, with this particular school, we put together kind of an overall FY 2025 budget recommendation that is really much more holistic than just looking at in-market spend. We gave them the number of how much it would cost to grow by about 50 students in their business portfolio, by about 25 students in their education portfolio. We told them, if you want to outsource this work, here's about what you would be looking at for agency fees. Here's a recommended brand awareness spend. Try to see if your Marcom team can absorb this, because that will save money on the agency side. And then you should also be looking at adding 2 enrollment coaches and 2 faculty members. And here are some estimates of how much that's going to cost you. And from there, you've really equipped yourselves with some concrete numbers that you can take to your finance team, and you can say, okay, look, here's the overall investment that we want to make. We expect to yield an additional 75 students for FY 25 based on this investment. Now let's make sure that that investment is actually going to pay off. And so you do some math with your finance team, because they'll be the ones who actually know the real numbers. For the illustration purposes of this here, we're assuming that the addition of 75 net new students results in an average lifetime value of $35,000 a student. And that allows us to project an additional revenue of $2.6 million as a result of this spend, which is net revenue amounting to about $1.5 million. So once you're looking at this with your leadership, it'll be pretty evident to them that you've thought about ROI, that you've thought about, industry data, and you've made some really educated projections in terms of how far the spend will go for you. And you'll have a much easier time advocating for yourselves and for your team in terms of making the investment that will be necessary to set you up for success. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in talking with us about this, if you want me to send you this deck so you have it on file, reach out via our website, vivhighered.com. That's vivhied.com. Email us and we'll be glad to talk with you or send you the deck. Hope this was helpful. Thank you.